My name is Allison I am originally from Maryland, lived there most of my life, right outside DC. But 8 years ago, I moved to Florida because I hate the snow. So now I live in Central Florida, a place called Winter Garden, suburb of Orlando. What made me decide to join Market Mastery Group was I had been looking for a career after I retired from my previous career. So I was a data management expert, government contractor for 30 some years. And I retired from that in September after my last child went to college. And I wanted, but I'm not typical retirement age. So I needed something to bridge the gap in terms of income strategy. And I've always been interested in the stock market and way too scared to do anything on my own. So I went looking for a group that did options trading or stock trading. I knew I didn't want to do day trading. It was too volatile and too risky for me. And most of the groups I found were very bloated in terms of what they claimed, but very risky. And Market Mastery Group stuck out to me as different because they were not making those claims. They were making claim to be very dependable and teach you the basics and start from the beginning, which is all things that attracted me. So I did their free webinar first and was hooked from that point on. My biggest takeaway from working with the MMG team and community and leaders is that they truly care that you are successful, but in a risk-averse, as much as possible with options trading, way, so that I really like that their main goal is to guide you and show you enough in the beginning. You follow them, but then you can diverge from them and do it yourself when you're ready. So I'm not dependent on them the rest of my trading career to pick trades for me. In the beginning, my big takeaway there is I love that they do give me the trades. Then I can watch how those trades evolve and learn so that when I go to pick my own, I know more about what criteria to use and how things are going to move and things like that. So it's their strategy of teach a man to fish instead of giving a man to fish so that eventually I can fish for myself. I am literally shocked in a good way.
Yo, totally.
If I can help somebody, because I really thought I'm gonna be working until I'm 70. Yeah, I can get a job doing something I like, but I've got to supplement this. There's no way that I'm gonna make enough to live on for. Yeah, I am. And then some. So my favorite part of the mastermind experience is meeting the people in person. So, COVID and working at home, and I've worked at home for almost 10 years in my career. It's isolating. It's just the human connection has gone away from society in a lot of ways, and that's very difficult for me. Combine that with I'm divorced, all my kids are gone, and so now all of a sudden I enter the season of life is like, okay, I've raised 9 children and 2 husbands, and all of that is gone. And now it's just me, and that's kind of weird because I've always had lots to do. And so I kind of was craving that, we get 45-minute meeting on Tuesday and I'm like, oh, can we keep going? But meeting the people in person, it's such a better connection, so many people have so much warmth here, good intentions. There's no greed going on. There's no bragging. It's very much, what can I do to help you? What do you need? How can we help you further? And I just really appreciate that human support that I don't get because I'm kind of alone now. So I really like this aspect. If they did these quarterly, I would come because it's just different when you get to talk to somebody in person about things. And even now, going back and doing the online meetings and support will be different because now I know these people. Then because I joined in, just a couple months ago, this is my first mastermind. I would tell someone considering joining MMG that absolutely do it, and do it with the confidence that you have a support community in addition to Steve, Pam, and their staff, but you also have good intentions from everybody to help. And that even though at the beginning it is definitely overwhelming from a vocabulary perspective, and especially if you don't have a history of financial work or investment, you're definitely learning things that are foreign to you. But repetition is key. And one of the things that MMG does that not many of the other groups that I know about offer is you can continue to come to these 2-day weekend seminars, weekly meetings, etc. Included, like you pay once to join, and then you can keep up with that repetitiveness. I've been to every 2-day online seminar they've had since I joined. And every time I learn something new and hone in on details that I didn't know before. So that repetitiveness and willingness to always explain, no judgment about not understanding, it's truly for the beginner. And I really was, even though I had a lifetime of experience in data, I was a data management expert, I'd never done anything with financial data. So 4-5 months ago, I was a real beginner. But I never felt out of place being a beginner. They kind of target that. My biggest struggle before joining MMG was the worry and anxiety of what am I going to do next? Because I had retired from my government contracting career. My kids were all gone or in college, and I didn't have the life, that I kind of thought I would have. So now I need to craft a new vision of my life, and I didn't really know what that looked like. And trying different groups and looking for things online, it was a little disconcerting until I found MMG, because it was haphazard and people have different motivations and wasn't my cup of tea until I found this. I'm most proud that I didn't quit after the first 2-day seminar, because it's just a lot of material. So I stuck with it. And then I'm next most proud of the fact that after I had my first losing trade, I didn't panic. I knew there was a way to stay in it, stay the course, learn from it, and move on. And then I'm really most proud of the fact that I have surpassed all my goals that I had set and need to make new ones in 3 months. What makes MMG different, I think, is the level of care. You're treated like a person, not a number, from the beginning. I think they really care about passing their craft on, about educating people, about making your life better, as opposed to just taking your money and making their life better. It permeates through their whole business, because it's one of the first things Steven says when he does the webinars. And it's very obvious that this is not their major, like they make their own money in the stock market and through other business ventures. But you're actually probably treated better because they're not doing it for the money. You're treated like our goal here is to give back. And that's what's different. I could not find anybody else doing that. Let me put it that way. And I looked. Is there anything else I'd like people to know about the MMG experience? Yes, I'd say one thing to touch on is that trading in general, I think, is considered kind of a lonely business because it does require screen time. It does require concentration. You don't usually have groups of traders working in person together. That's not typically a thing. Like you would meet up people and go for a walk or a hike. Don't typically meet up people and do trading. So one of the things this group does that I really like is they encourage you to choose a trading partner, which I've done. Mine's Michelle in the group. And having that one-to-one connection with somebody else in the group, kind of another place to ask questions, run ideas off each other, support when something goes wrong, kind of the daily contact of it has been great. And I actually would not have even thought of doing that if MMG didn't kind of promote that model. Like they promote from the beginning, don't do this alone. Find somebody, even if it's not in our group, find somebody, follow them. But if you want somebody in the group, reach out, tell us you need somebody, or find somebody that you like the way that they're having a conversation and then, hook up with them in terms of being a support for each other, trading partner. That's probably the other thing I'd like to, because that's made a big difference. I think that the one thing I would say is don't sell yourself short. I had a very successful career and was very confident in my career as a data management government contractor. I did a lot of things, I did them well, but I just was done with that career. And when I started this, I had zero confidence, and that was a place that I wasn't used to being from a work perspective. And I think I could have let that really ruin it for me, but I chose consciously not to. So don't let the fact that you're a beginner or you don't know yet mess with your confidence in the ability that you'll get there. You'll get there. You might need help, you might need time, you might need resources, all of which they can provide. But this is what I kind of like to say this about confidence, borrow somebody else's confidence who you respect and who is further along in the journey that you're taking than you are until you get it for yourself. We are MMG.